Recently, Susan Collins was on CNN, and she said she predicted that the Affordable Care Act would stay in place, and all that jazz. Recently a Texas federal judge ruled, I guess, some part of it, I forgot exactly what, as the individual mandate or something like that, as unconstitutional. And of course, Susan Collins of Maine, supposed Republican, said that it'll probably stay in place, and she thinks there's parts of the Affordable Care Act that are great. And don't you know, millions of people lose their health care, all this stuff. Now this is part of a much larger issue with the Republican Party. The problem with my party is that they're a bunch of wusses. This goes to show that. This is proof of that. Susan Collins is a RINO. And so the issue I'm going to take on today is the problem with RINOs in the party. RINO, R-I-N-O, is an acronym. It means Republican in name only. Now, obviously, that's kind of a generalization. She's not a Republican in name only. She does have some policies that are not policies of the Democrat Party in particular. But generally speaking, she's limp biscuit. She's a limp biscuit. She's very milquetoast, just a very weak and very impotent candidate. She doesn't have any heart. She's not a conservative. She never has been. She's part of the elite. She's down with things like welfare programs and all that. She's weak on protecting our country and things like the border. She's weak. I don't know all of her policies, but I know that she's weak. In fact, she was the last Republican to vote for Brett Kavanaugh. There's a reason for that. Why do you think that is? Because she's weak. Luckily, she did vote for Brett Kavanaugh. That was nice, but she took she took a very long time. The thing is that she is a representation of a much larger issue in the Republican Party. She's just one member. There are several senators, governors, and congressmen who are weak, limp biscuit candidates in the Republican Party. A lot of Republicans run on the ticket of being conservative because they have to speak to their conservative base. The problem is that the vast majority of them aren't conservative. Some of them are honest about not being conservative, but most of them aren't. There have been people like Mitt Romney, like John Kasich, who have said they are conservatives. They are not conservatives. Marco Rubio said he was a conservative, and he's more right-wing than Mitt Romney or John Kasich, certainly, but he's not a conservative. He was part of the Gang of Eight. He is loose on immigration. He is loose on certain federal regulations, loose on welfare. He's more of a moderate, okay, because he's still right-wing on a lot of things. He's still down for like small business and lower taxes and things like that. But he is not, I repeat, not a conservative. And there's a lot of fake conservatives in the Republican Party. Now, this issue, she was on Jake Tapper. She was speaking with him. And he asked her, would you endorse Trump in 2020? And all that. She's like, well, I'll wait until 2020. That's fair enough. But you could at least say you support him. She wouldn't even do that. She wouldn't even say whether or not she was really a big supporter of the president. She's weak on the Affordable Care Act. She's also weak on things like abortion and all that. She said, oh, see, Brett Kavanaugh Planned Parenthood was so against Brett Kavanaugh, and look what Brett Kavanaugh did. He voted basically in favor of abortion, which we all kind of knew that Brett Kavanaugh wasn't a conservative. Those of us who were actually paying attention, a lot of the MAGA people, a lot of the people who became MAGA people who were still like conservatives, but they moved over to the Trump camp, to the MAGA camp. I support Trump. Okay, I plan on voting for him in 2020, but I'm not a MAGA person. I'm not a. There's never Trumpers, and there's what I call forever Trumpers. A lot of former like Ted Cruz supporters and former Ben Carson supporters and things like that. In the primary, a lot of the more conservative candidates, and even some of the moderates, a lot of those people, when Trump became the general election nominee, they all jumped in and basically just said Trump and just kind of left behind their old, political, I guess, I don't know, loyalty is not the right word, but they're old candidates to just kind of like, bye. Some people even said, oh, you know what? Trump is better. He is the guy for a job. He is the best. I mean, he's better than most, but he's not the best guy for a job. Not in my opinion. But that's beside the point. You have a lot of people in the MAGA camp who thought, who are conservatives, who could kind of just jumped on the Trump train, who were like, oh, Brett Kavanaugh he's a conservative, right? When he was going through the whole nomination thing, people such as my own father, and I said he's not that conservative. He's got some issues on the Fourth Amendment. He's like, oh no, he's ruled very conservatively. I'm like, no, he hasn't, and we're seeing the evidence of that right now with the whole abortion thing. Kavanaugh is not a conservative. Period. He's not. You've been tricked. You've been duped. Kind of told you that he wasn't. Trump should have gone for a more conservative judge, maybe even a woman judge, because then how are they going to me too a woman? But that didn't happen. So now we're here with a moderate at best, kind of limp biscuit. I don't want to say a rhino. Yeah, maybe he's a moderate, but a kind of a limp biscuit federal judge. Now I think he'll rule pretty good on. I think he'll rule very right wing on things like, business freedom of speech, things like that. But on things like abortion, maybe things like tariffs and stuff, he's probably going to be a little bit more left wing. Tariffs are not a right wing thing, by the way. All the people who are on the Trump train, like, yay, tariffs. You think they're so great. They're not great. They're killing small businesses. Look at the recent drop in the stock market. That's because of tariffs. Like immediately after they took effect, which was very recently, around the end of this year, and more are going to take effect next year, we're seeing this drop in the stock market. Well, why is that? Well, it's because we're taxing our own people for buying foreign goods. I'm not against foreign goods. I'm just against foreign governments having a foothold because our government gives them that. If our government would just stay out of our economy altogether, we wouldn't have this issue. Period. But that's a little off topic. Let me get back to the point here, though. Susan Collins, people like that, they're Limp Bizkit, they're RINOs. She is probably more for abortion and things like that. She's more definitely probably not as, or she's probably not as and I realize I just said definitely probably, that's a paradox. She's probably for more open borders. She's probably for government intervention in the economy. She's probably not really that much against welfare programs. There's an issue in the Republican Party, and it has to do with RINOs. People who are phony, who are fake, and who are not real. These people they're liars and they're cowards, and they'll do anything to reach across the aisle. We have got to stop supporting candidates like this. And this is an issue in the Republican Party, and it hasn't ended. And we've had 2 years to pass all kinds of crap to get the wall funding passed. We've had 2 years to get abortion stuff passed. Obviously, that's a little bit harder. We've had 2 years to really deregulate the economy. Not a little bit, but a lot. The tax cuts. We could have gone further with the tax cuts. Why didn't we? There's these issues that we need to take care of. What about prison reform? We had 2 years for that. Now we're probably not gonna get that. The point is that Republicans have had all kinds of time to get stuff passed. Under Obama, they had time to get stuff passed. Obama's just one guy. When the Senate and the House were both on our side in 2014, nothing happened. Oh, so they blocked a Supreme Court justice. Ooh, big deal. We need to do more. Our party needs to do more, and I don't see it happening anytime in the future. Hopefully we clean house and just get some new people in there. So that'll be all, and I'll see you later.